Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel, Ethereal Kia. So, my name is Kia, and a little bit about myself. I am from Philadelphia. Right now, I am 27. I'll be 28 in a couple days, and I am a single mom. I have a 2-year-old daughter who will be 3 in a couple months, and I am currently a full-time entrepreneur, and I stay at home. So, this channel is basically me sharing my journey with you. I stopped working a couple months ago, and we'll get into that a little bit later. But basically, my life is like really crazy. I mean, it's not the worst life ever, not by a long shot. But it's just very interesting the things that I deal with and have to go through, and a lot of those are because I put myself in those positions. Most of them are actually, if not all of them. But I am basically here to share my story as I'm going through it with whoever is interested in it. I think that it could be really helpful for a lot of young women, especially who are trying to find their way, whether it's in regards to relationships or life in general or business. These are all currently things that I am going through as we speak, and I have not figured it out yet. So, while I figure it out, I thought it would be, pretty interesting to have you guys come along on the journey with me. So, I'm going to start with today, day one. I'm going to try to do these every day for at least a couple minutes because I kind of want it to be like a video diary journal type thing. And you just, sharing my daily thoughts and experiences and ideas, concepts that I think about. I think a lot. I'm a writer too. I write not as much as I should, but that's something that I'll be picking up on again. So, speaking of writing, yesterday I released my first ebook. It's called What Men Taught Me. And basically what that came from was, what it is basically a reflection of the top 5 relationships with men that I've had over my lifetime. And all of these people are very significant to me, or were at some point. And each of them I had to deal with differently. Each of them offered me something different. Each of them, I provided something different. I gave a different part of me to each of them. And, from that, I took lessons from every interaction I had, especially with these 5 people in particular, because they had such a big impact on me. So, if you want to pick that up, that is, I'll put the link, or have a little, no, I'll put the link, because I'm not tech savvy yet, so I don't know how to make it, like, pop up in the video. That would be cool, but, I'll learn that at some point. But for now, the link to the ebook, What Men Taught Me, is going to be down in the description. So, what else can we talk about today? Well, basically, I am right now, just going to be honest, I'm coming off of a very short marriage. It was literally 60 days. Like, from the day we got married to the day we decided that we weren't going to be married anymore, it was literally 60 days. So I'll talk about that some, I guess, kind of get it out there, because honestly, I'm not really like over it yet, but I guess that sharing what I've learned from it will kind of help me heal from it too. Being able to share that with somebody, and maybe somebody else can get something from it, because it was crazy. So the guy that I don't even know what to call him. Technically, he's still my husband, because it's not finalized that it's over until next month. Oh wait, no, later this month. So basically, I have known my husband for 6 years and some. And we met when I was 21. I was fresh out of college. I had just moved to Atlanta, and he was like, he stepped in at like just the right time. He was kind of like a savior in a way, because I was headed down a path that, I never really intended for myself, but life took me there. And I was kind of wondering how and when I would get out of it. And then he showed up. And he basically was like, offering me a way out of the lifestyle that I was in at the time. And I wasn't heavy into it yet, but it could have easily gotten there in a couple more months or another year or so. So basically, he came along when I was at one of what I would consider one of my low points, and he helped me. He helped me financially. He relieved that stress off of me, which was like 99% of the stress I was going through was financial, and it usually is. But he relieved it. One of the first things he said was, "You don't have to do this. I can take care of you. I can pay all your bills." And I was like, bet. And all I got to do is be your girlfriend? Okay. But, it ended up being cool because he was a nice guy. He was cool. He was, like, down to earth. He was laid back. He wasn't, like, full of drama. Not too much, anyway. And he was older, like, twice my age. And, we just developed a genuine bond and a genuine friendship over time. Even though it started as kind of, like, transactional or, like, a mutually beneficial thing, like he was offering something to me that I wanted and needed, and he expected something in return for that. And it was good in the beginning, and then things started getting a little rocky. I was 21, and I'm in Atlanta. My roommate at the time was like well connected. So she had like connections with like basketball players and like their entourages and other, celebrities, and they were into the party scene, and so was I. So that is the life that I was like excited about. Like that's what I wanted. Like that to me was like, yes, like I graduated college, like I did everything I was supposed to do. Now it's my turn. I'm going to go have fun. I'm going to live my life. I'm going to do my thing. And I did. I did my thing. And, being with my husband, who at the time was, just my boyfriend, he sometimes would have some issues with some of the things that I wanted to do, or the people that I wanted to be around. Like, he never said, like, no, you can't go out, or, anything like that. But in some ways, subtly, he was kind of, alluding to that based on the circumstances. So I know, like, this one time, I went out with my friends. It was me, my roommate, and one or two other girls that we went out with. And then it was also, like, maybe 3 or 4 guys that we linked up with through the night. We met them at the club. They were all friends. All of us were all cool. Like, it was no, funny business going on. There was no coupling up. There was none of that. It was just, young adults enjoying each other's company with common interests, having fun. Regular stuff, right? So one day we went out to the club, we partied, whatever, cool. We came back to the apartment. Everybody came back to the apartment. And, everybody slept over. So I was in my room. I had my own bedroom. My roommate had her own bedroom. And everybody else was in the living room. Everybody else was in the living room. I was in my room by myself. Everybody else was in the living room. Okay, so I guess my phone died or something. Maybe I wasn't responding when he was texting me, the next morning or whatever. But he ended up coming over. He popped up, that morning, that next morning, and he just went like ballistic. Like he went crazy because when he showed up, there were dudes like on the couch in the living room because they had slept there the night before, right? And I have a roommate at this time, right? So this is not my decision. Did I put up a fight against it? No, I did not, because I didn't even really think anything of it. It wasn't like, oh no, y'all can't stay here because I have a boyfriend that lives somewhere else. Like, I just didn't think about it. So he came in and he was like, what is this? What's going on? Like, I can't believe you. You got dudes in this apartment that I pay for, and you got this and that. And I'm trying to explain to him, like, yo, we're just friends. All of us are homies. Like, I live here with somebody else. So it's not like just me and 5 dudes at my house. Like, this is my roommate. These are my friends. These are, like, people that are very aware that we're in a relationship. They're very respectful of it. There's nothing to really, like, flip out about. But he was just so, like, stubborn in his perception of it. It just didn't look right to him. And I can understand how it would look, suspicious or off, or, make somebody uncomfortable. So I understood that, but I didn't understand why he was reacting as if I had done something wrong. It was like, instead of having a conversation about it or asking, he automatically jumped to worst case scenario and ran with that and reacted in a way that was like worst case scenario. And I'm like, bro, like, what is this? So, that was a kind of early sign of what would come later. But, we stayed together. We started fighting a lot more than I was comfortable with. And eventually I just left. I left Atlanta. I came back home. And it was because him and I were living together. Like, he had moved me out of that apartment that I was staying at with my friend. And he made me, well, not made me, but we moved in together. I moved into his place. And, I thought that was the move. And I thought that it would make things better, being that, it wasn't 2 different spaces. So it wasn't like, oh, I don't like that you're over there because I don't know what you're doing and blah, blah, blah. And you could be having people over and blah, blah, blah. He was basically like, he didn't want to be played for a fool. Which I'm like, that's cool and everything. And I get it. But why would you even be with somebody who you think would play you for a fool? Like, what does that say about you or the type of people that you attract, where you feel like you can be in a relationship with somebody, but you still have to watch your back at all times because you think they might be trying to get over on you? That's like a really corny way to go about a relationship to me. But that was a theme that ended up being like a theme for him, because it continued no matter, what point over the 6 years we were at. It was always pretty much the same issue whenever we decided to get back into that type of relationship. So, I mean, that idea that somebody has to be like, so possessive, or like they have to make so many rules, or their idea of relationships is so rigid. Like, oh, you're supposed to act like this, you're supposed to act like that. That's not okay. That's not okay. And then, when on top of that, they have communication issues where they don't receive information that well, nor do they have enough emotional control to step back from a situation and analyze it before jumping to the conclusion and reacting based off of what you've assumed rather than what's real. So, I don't know. But, that is one of the lessons that I talk about in my ebook, What Men Taught Me. For that particular person, I just had to accept that he is who he is, and it's not compatible with who I am. And maybe at some point it was, or under certain circumstances, like when everything is fine, when, I'm behaving the way he wants me to, when I'm not doing things outside of the scope of what he deems is acceptable or reasonable. As long as I'm within the lines that he's drawn out for his type of relationship that he wants, and everything is cool. But as soon as I, step out of that, or I, am an individual and express my own beliefs or act in ways that are in alignment with who I am, not with, my role in his life. Because that's different. I am who I am regardless of who I am to you. I'm still me. And I was never ever willing to give that up or exchange that or trade that in to fit a role that somebody wanted me to play. That's just not me. It's not going to happen. Now I can make adjustments to be more, fitting, and it's a compromise. In any type of relationship, you're going to learn to compromise, because that's part of learning each other. That's part of learning who the other person is, and what parts of you and what parts of them mesh well and which parts don't and could use some work. I'm fine with that. But I'm never going to change myself to be who somebody else wants me to be. I'm just not.